Welcome to Freshly Flanimated. I'll show you how to build a chain and how to create an infinite revolving loop of this chain. So to start with, I will use the rectangle primitive tool and create a motion guide for the chain. So imagine if this is the chain of a tank or a bicycle. I will convert this to a symbol and this will be our chain container. I'll go inside this container, I'll break this apart and we'll use this as a guide layer. And then somewhere here I'll create the chain element just out of a rectangular piece. I'll convert this to a symbol, call it chain bit, and we'll snap it over the motion guide. Now we have to make this thing loop around the motion guide so that we build the chain. And to do so, I'll duplicate this. I will move this last bit in a way so that it just barely touches the previous part. And then somewhere in the middle, I don't really know exactly how many frames I need for this, but I will move this down here and I will rotate it 180 degrees. So now if we go classic tween and make this a guided layer, it travels along the path. Now we should orient that to the path. So now we have this element going around the path and we have to make sure that there is no overlapping. So with onion skinning on and maybe in outline mode, we have to look at these and start removing frames until the elements touch each other but don't overlap. And we'll do the same for the second part. So I'll remove some frames like this. I think this should be good. Let me just see, just to make sure that everything's fine. All looks good. Okay. So now we have the chain. I will convert all of these to keyframes and then get rid of the tween. I don't need the motion guide at this stage. So now I need to cut these and paste them onto a single frame to build the chain. So I'll activate multiple frames, select all of these bits, cut them and paste in place so that they're all onto one single frame. Now I'll right click and distribute all this to layers. So now all these are layers. Quite many of these layers actually. We'll put them in a layer folder. Select all of them and put them in a layer folder. And I will add a bunch of frames. And add a keyframe here, which has to be blank. Okay, so we need now to animate this whole thing. We need to make sure that each bit moves over and becomes the next bit to have a constant flow of all these elements. All right. So how do we achieve this? We have to select all layers except for the last one and alt drag these keyframes, moving them one layer down, so that if we isolate one of these elements, you can see now this will become this. So one of the elements will travel to the left. Okay, so the last thing is to grab this one and drag it, alt drag it, to fill in this blank spot here. Okay, so now if we activate a classic tween here, we will see that these elements travel, each one displacing the adjacent one. So this is basically it. Now here we have 10 frames. Let's make them 11. And on the outside, if we go on the outside and show 10 frames here and export, we will see the chain animation will be an endless loop. So if there's a little bit of wobble here, we might want to motion guide these layers. How can we do this? We can use the same motion guide which we already have. I'm not really sure whether that will improve the situation, but we can at least try. I'll drag the motion guide just here, show it, and attach all of these and make them motion guided. Whether this will make the flow better, it's difficult to tell, but I will make them orient to path and it might improve the situation somehow. Okay, let's export and see what happens. Seems to be working quite well. If we want to speed it up, we can just remove a few frames. So now this is frame 7. So on the outside, we need 6 frames. Okay, it's a little bit faster. If we want to create an endless loop, we can wrap this into another container. So loop, and here we'll have 6 frames, and on the outside we can have 60. There will be no hiccups. So we can tween this thing. Like this and like this, and this is all.
Freshly Flanimated.